Hi there, welcome to Yoga Physio Zone. This is Sinead and this is the third in the Hypermobility series, and today we are going to talk about sitting poses and kneeling poses and how to make them work the best for you. So in the sitting poses, it's really important that you get your base position right. So you're going to be doing all kinds of stretches with legs, maybe the arms, all that kind of thing. But for you, the most important thing is to get your sitting, your base right, and the activation of your muscles right. So we'll start with Dandasana, which is kind of staff pose, which is just sitting with the legs stretched out and the back straight. And it's a good one for explaining what I'm getting at with this, because your main aim is to be sitting on those sit bones and not kind of hunkering back like that. Because when you're kind of leaning back like that, what you're doing is you're leaning on your ligaments, which those ligaments are already working hard for you guys because you're hypermobile, so don't make them work harder. So you want to be using muscle activation to hold you upwards. So in other words, when you're sitting in this Dandasana, have your belly coming forwards and your back straightening. So it's activating your belly muscles and it's activating your back muscles, and they are what are holding you upwards. So have a go. Now, if you need to have your knees bent for this one, if you don't have the flexibility of your hamstrings, so what? You can work on that, but get your basic starting position right. Now, if you need to, you can do this against a wall that doesn't have a heater like mine, so that you can practice your Dandasana and then maybe trying to come away from the wall, and then you only maybe get a couple of seconds out of it and you can relax back, and then kind of trying to come forward with your belly button again away from the wall. So you're really trying to get that whole thing of activation. So that is Dandasana. And let's just add in that stability to a wide leg sitting pose. So bringing our legs out wide. Now, get into the position first of all where you can feel your sit bones under and you feel, yep, I've got a bit of contraction going here. And then bring the legs out wide and see, can I still maintain my contraction? Yes, I can, okay. And then going a little bit forwards, and get to that point where you decide, yeah, if I go forwards with my legs, I'm going to collapse down like that. And try not to do that. So come to that point where you feel, yes, my legs are forward, or should I say my legs are wide, but I'm coming forwards. And then you can work on walking the hands forwards and looking forwards, and you will still get a really good stretch onto your inner thigh muscles there, but you will be working your core muscles at the same time. Now you can, with all of these poses, turn them into a more passive and grounded pose where you round your back and you bring your face down, and those are lovely grounding poses and there's nothing wrong with them. And please enjoy them, but do spend a bit of time in your sitting poses also working on muscle activation here, because that is extremely important for hypermobility. Okay, so that's that. Wide leg forward fold. Breathe and enjoy. Okay. So let's talk about another sitting pose. For example, let's do the butterfly pose. So here we are. We are going to bring our two legs and we are going to bring them in towards us. So our heels are towards us and our feet are together. And then we hold on to our hands and we let our knees drop out. And that's lovely. But as you can see, when I turn to the side, I'm kind of rounding my back and my neck is hunched forwards and all kinds of things like that. So how do I make that a better pose for me? Well, adding in the muscle activation. So bringing the belly button forwards, straightening the back, and you can see how that automatically brings my shoulders down away from my ears and puts me in a better position. And I also get a better stretch to my inner thighs. So by activating my core and getting my spine nice and straight and strong, I'm actually enabling the stretch to my inner thighs. So I can work on my flexibility and my stability at the same time. So just know what you're doing. What's my aim in this pose? Is my aim to ground myself, to feel relaxed, you know, sitting forwards, just relaxing, and that's fine. But do spend a bit of time on the stability, okay? So have at least some of your sitting poses working on your stability. I'm sounding like a broken record. Apologies. Okay, so this principle can be applied to every sitting pose, really, that you want to add it into. So it can be added into your sitting twists, for example. So if you're sitting with your legs in a kind of a crossed position and you're twisting to the right, so try it first of all without any core activation. So you're just going to sit, you're going to put your right hand behind you, and then you're going to twist across your body. That's lovely. But let me just see now if I can add in a little bit of activation. So sitting here, roll forward so I can feel my sit bones, belly forwards. I'm going to plant my left hand on the ground, I'm going to bring my right hand across my body, and then I'm going to twist around. So it changes the twist when you get your activation right. It's better for your spine to be in a straight position when you're twisting it, and not to be in a kind of a roundy position and to twist like that. So even if you can't twist as far when you're up straight, so be it. You're still getting a really good stretch, and you can add in a large breath to make that twist more twisty. So let's do that to the other side. So here we are, we're sitting cross-legged. I'm going to plant the right hand to our side. We're going to bring the left hand across the body like that. But before we go any further, we're going to roll forwards on our sit bones. We're going to bring our lower back straight, bringing the belly forwards, and then looking around. Now, just to be noted that when you are doing twists, twist your belly first, then your shoulders, and only then your neck. So try doing it in both positions. Try doing it in a kind of a back rounded position, and then trying to do it in a back straightened position. And I think you'll probably find that while it might be easier for you to get a better stretch in the rounded position, you get a more supported one, and it's better for your back when you're straight. So being on the sit bone is really important for those ones there. Now, one final sitting pose, which is great fun, really, and it's the boat pose, okay? B-O-A-T. And so boat pose. So sit on the mat, and your feet are standing on the ground, your knees are bent, and then you're on your sit bones, but you're going to be rocking back a little bit to some extent. But get your hands in behind your knees, like that, and then allow yourself to rock back a little bit, not too much, so you're kind of still coming forward with your belly and coming forward with your chest, and you're holding that pose, boat pose. So if I rock back like that, I actually find it harder to hold myself up. But if I kind of sit forwards on my sit bones, bring my belly forwards and look with my chest towards the sky, that's actually easier for me to do. However, with this one, our gaze should be forward. So we are going to have our gaze forwards. And then if you can leave your hands go. You don't have to, but when you do leave your hands go, you will find that you feel the activation of your core much, much stronger. And you might find, oh my God, I can only hold on to that for a second. That's fine. Come back, take a little rest, and then try it again. So we go through all of that again. Here we are. We're on our sit bones. Temptation is to go back like that, but I'm going to put my two hands in, and then in that position, straightening my arms. I'm going to roll forwards, so I'm on my sit bones. I'm going to bring my chest kind of towards the sky, but I'm kind of looking forward still. I'm not looking up towards the ceiling, just like that, and I'm just holding, and then seeing about letting go. And then maybe you can see about bringing one leg up, ooh, and the other leg back, or should I say up. Really increases the core activation, and eventually doing a full boat pose, which I'm still working on, so I'm not going to demonstrate that. So there we go. Those are your sitting poses, and those are the basic principles for going into any sitting pose, unless you're specifically working on a grounding technique and a forward technique, and that's fine. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to talk about today was the kneeling poses. And the kneeling poses do involve a fair bit of stability of your trunk. So we're going to talk about that for a minute before we do them. So when you are kneeling, and so in any kneeling pose, when the two knees are together, your aim should be always not to have the bum sticking out, but that you're pulling your bum in and you're sucking up your pelvic floor, like we did before, sucking up the pelvic floor, pulling it up into our insides, which pulls the belly in and up and under the ribs. So even holding that position, I can really feel, I could just work on core activation by doing this and nothing else, okay? Just pulling up on the pelvic floor, sucking in my tummy and sucking it in under my rib cages, but not squeezing so tight, that I can't breathe. Just holding that position. There is so much muscle activation going on within me at the moment. Oh, I'm going to have sore muscles tomorrow. And that's just kneeling. So it looks like nothing, but there's so much happening. All right. When we add in, I'm going to move my mat away so you can just see me a little bit better when I do this. When we add in, so we get that core activation right, first of all, pulling up on the pelvic floor, pulling in the belly, and then let's see, can I raise my arms at the same time? And you will really feel when you raise your arms that you're really, really increasing the muscle activation in your lower trunk. So this is a really good starting kneeling pose. Ooh, I can really feel this working. So honestly, guys, you can work on this for like probably months. Okay, there's loads to work on in just that one pose. Okay, but a lot of the kneeling poses are done on one knee. So let's talk about that. So there's lots of crescents and twists and all that. So when you are on one knee, feel free to put padding on your back knee by rolling up your mat. But when one knee is forward, you have to do a lot more work on stabilizing this part of your core, okay? So same principles apply, okay? Is you're going to suck up on your pelvic floor, sucking it up to the inside of you, pulling in the belly, relaxing the shoulders, and just make sure that your knee is directly over your ankle, that it's not kind of dropping in like that, which can happen if there is hip weakness. So you want to have the knee directly over your ankle in a straight line. And even just holding this position, I can really feel my thighs working, the muscles of the outside of my hip working, my belly working, my back working, really feeling that activation. And then I can add in arms overhead, for example, so a kneeling crescent. I'm really trying to do that while I'm maintaining this stability here. Some people find if they kind of squeeze, almost have a squeezing action of squeezing, now they're not physically squeezing their thighs together, but almost like a muscle activation as if they were trying to squeeze their thighs together, that helps in their stability. So kneeling crescent, whew, I think I have enough of that knee. So really even just doing these starting positions and working on those will make it so much easier to do the fancy arm stuff that goes along with them. And they're really good prep for the standing poses. So I'm going to just change to the other side, and you might find, yeah, one side is a bit wobblier than the other. And again, your aim for the moment is to work on your stability. And by the way, with your back foot, if you feel you get better stability with your toes up, that's fine. If you feel you get better stabilities with your toes down, that's fine as well. So here I am in this position. My knee is stacked over my ankle. I'm pulling up on my pelvic floor, sucking it up into the middle of me, sucking in my belly under my rib cage, squeezing my thighs together, trying to breathe, and to hold that position straight and solid. And this time, let's add a twist into that. So our left knee is bent forwards. Let's do a twist to that side. So I am trying to keep everything solid from my waist down while I am rotating. So there is so much muscle activation going on there. It's not funny, okay? If you feel that you need to, push into the ground with your foot, your front foot, and with the front shin as well. If you really need to get a bit more grounding, you feel, oh, I'm going to fall. So there's so much work that can be done just with those before you go to any of the other poses. So good luck with those. There's months of work in all of that. And I will see you for the fourth in the series, which will be standing poses. So maybe put a bit of work in your kneeling ones before you get to standing, and you will notice that life gets much easier. So I will talk to you soon, and take care.